And my number one Wilson racket is... Stay tuned. Today I'm going to be taking you through my favourite Wilson rackets. Now Wilson as a brand is mega, it's massive, it's probably the biggest racket brand in the world, and they have a whole host of rackets for all different player types and player profiles. Now, as always with these top fives, they're my personal choices, what I like to use, but also with the occasional drop of ones that I think just execute their brief perfectly. Rackets that are set out to play in a certain way or help a certain player or solve a certain problem, and then absolutely do that. So there's an appreciation of the rackets that do what they're supposed to, as well as the ones that I love to get my hands on and have a go on court with. Now these have been tested over years. As new ones have come out, obviously we update and we try, and then we're always trying to work out where they fit in amongst the rest. So it's quite a difficult job, but I think I've narrowed down my top five. Let's get into it. In at number 5, we have the Wilson Clash 100. I'm actually holding the 100 Pro here, but it is the 100 that is the 5th racket on my list. And this is the exact example I was referring to earlier, where it's not about the racket that I personally would choose to use, but it executes its brief perfectly. Now, Wilson and this Clash have reframed it from the all-rounder racket that previous generations were supposed to be, and really hammered down and honed in on being the most comfortable racket available. And that is why any beginner or lower intermediate level players, or even some intermediate players maybe have some arm issues, as soon as they're asking for a recommendation, this is where we're going. Nobody can pick this racket up, use it, and not like it, because it's so soft, so comfortable. It's almost like playing with a cushion. It's one of the easiest rackets to pick up and use. It requires no sort of getting used to. It does exactly what you think it's going to do, and it enables you to access all sorts of shots in a really comfortable way. Now obviously it doesn't suit higher level players, which is why it doesn't go higher on my list, but in terms of its brief, being really comfortable and helping beginner intermediate players progress, if you're looking for a top spec racket, but you maybe don't need a stiffer or a more flexible frame than something like the Wilson Clash, you cannot go wrong, which is why it is number 5 on my list. In at number 4 is the RF01. Now this was a tight call between the RF01 and the Pro, which is slightly heavier at 320, but the 300 gram version, it's such a versatile racket and does it in such a forgiving way. And that is really what is so good about the RF range, is that if you think about Federer's playing style, that sort of all-court versatile game, could hold the baseline and play slice, play the ball in the rise, generate topspin when required, could do it all, and was looking for a racket to enable him to do that, which is where the RF was born out of. But with his advancing age, wanted something that was a bit more forgiving and a little bit softer. And that is why the RF is 4th on my list, for its versatility and its forgiving nature. If you're a high level player who likes to play an all court game but wants something that's a little bit softer on the arm, then this is certainly a great option to look at. The RF01, number 4 on my list. At number 3 on my list is a Wilson Blade. Such a popular version of the Wilson Blade that I have a demo that we've just restrung and haven't put the stencil on yet, and I've got to have a 100L behind me because we've run out. It is the Wilson Blade 100. Now lots of people don't like it when a brand takes a racket like this, it's a narrow beam control frame orientated racket, and make it 100. It's supposed to be a 98, that's how it's supposed to be used, that is the style of racket it's designed to be. But this Blade 100 just makes sense as soon as you use it. I was actually playing last night, running a coaching session, and a new customer of ours said, "Oh Josh, I actually watched your review on the Blade range and went with the 100, and my God, it's so good." And it is. The ability to generate that spin and power from a narrow beam racket, but still maintains that classic feel because it's narrow beamed, is so unique, and it is such an underrated racket. I think it's one of the very best, which is why it's number 3 on my list. This Wilson Blade 100 is fantastic. If you haven't tried it, if you use a blade and want a bit more, or you use something a little bit more traditionally powerful or even spin friendly, but want something that gives you a bit more control and feel, then check this out. The Blade 100 is the third best Wilson racket you can get. In at number 2, it is a brand new edition. There may be some recency bias involved, but it is the Wilson Ultra version 5 100. It is a classic 300 gram 1619 string pattern, and it does exactly what it says in the tin. It delivers explosive power. It is so good at adding pace to the ball. It is so good at being able to take control of the court and dominate your opponent, but it doesn't have that ultra stiff pure drive feeling to it, which enables you to have a little bit more shape on your shots, a little bit more control, a little bit more of an all-court game, whereas other power rackets from other brands maybe don't allow you to have that same flexibility. So whilst it loses a bit on power versus those brands, it makes up for it and then some in its ability to generate shots from all over the court in all different ways. Really, its unique nature and why it sits so high on my list is the feeling. Most power rackets are often muted or very stiff feeling. Wilson described it as explosive. I would describe it as sort of sharp, crisp. You get that power off the racket, but you do it in a way where it feels like you're in control of it. It feels like you can put it where you want it, just at a higher speed. It truly is a brilliant racket. The flexibility, whilst maintaining power, the transition of energy from the frame into the ball works really well. I highly recommend it. I think it also looks great. If you look at all the ones behind me, I think it stands out the best, and it is now the second best Wilson racket available. The moment you have been waiting for, my number 1 Wilson racket. Like the other ones, it's not up. I only have space for 4. It is down here, and the number 1 Wilson racket currently available is the old classic Wilson Blade 16x19. Obviously comes in 2 options, in this 98 square inch head, the 1619, the one I have, and the 1820, that is the string pattern. So this 1619 is a more open string pattern, and this is where I favour it. It, for a control frame, and it is a classically controlled frame, the access to power and the access to spin from the 1619 string pattern, the forgiveness that gives you, really puts it on a pedestal above, in my mind, almost all other control rackets in this ilk. If you've never used a Blade 1619, you won't quite understand the feel, the feedback you get when you contact the ball, how it comes back through to your hand and through to your body. Of all rackets that Wilson make, and many other brands make, is the one where you feel most in tune with the racket. It does what you expect it to do. It's consistent, it's stable, it doesn't surprise you. So if you're a higher level player, and you want to have a consistent feel and a consistent approach to the game, you cannot go wrong with a Blade. We've already had the 100 for if you want a bit more punch, but if you're looking for that pure classic feeling, the Blade 1619 or 1820, if that is your flavour, equally very good. It also comes in a really nice Roland Garros paint job, but you know, not for everyone. I have it in its classic green livery. The Wilson Blade 1619 is my number 1 Wilson racket. So there you have it, my top 5 Wilson rackets are all here, finished off with this Wilson Blade. Obviously the Blade made it up twice. We also have the Clash, a RF, and the brand new Ultra. Wilson really have created a great range of rackets. The new Clash and the new Ultra both came out this year in 2025, and they have elevated what was already a very good range, especially with things like the Blade. Next year, 2026, I imagine we're looking forward to probably new shifts, maybe new pro stuffs. Wilson like to throw some curveballs into the mix. There may even be a new Blade too. If you are a Wilson racket user, you will have your own opinion. You'll have tried lots of different ones. Let me know in the comments which ones you think I've got right and which ones I'm sleeping on, but I can't pick them all. These were my top 5. Let me know yours. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps support us. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.